Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to completely tear down the operational, legal, and marketing blueprint of a seriously fascinating cross-border healthcare startup. It's called SmileGeorgia Pro. We're going to look at exactly how they've built a business out of moving patients across international borders, and, spoiler alert here, it relies on a completely different model than you might expect from traditional medical tourism. We've organized a massive amount of source material into a really clear 5-part framework. We'll kick things off with the global healthcare shift, dive into why Georgia's emerging for dentistry, explore trust as a strategy, deconstruct their clinic partnership blueprint, and wrap up with their exact Nordic marketing playbook. So, part 1, the global healthcare shift. To really wrap our heads around this business model, we first need to zoom out and look at a massive shift that is happening in global healthcare right now. Think about how you book a flight or a hotel online. It's second nature, right? Well, today, patients are doing the exact same thing with their healthcare. The borders are totally blurring. Patients are no longer just restricted to the dentist down the street. Healthcare has morphed into a globalized, incredibly competitive market, and geography is simply no longer a barrier when you're seeking specialized care. You might be wondering, why pack your bags for a surgery? Honestly, it boils down to a search for the perfect intersection. We're talking advanced technology, high-level specialist expertise, and significantly lower costs. And crucially, doing all of this without those agonizingly long waiting lists you so often find in state-funded systems. It really isn't just about finding the cheapest option. It's about getting ultra-high-quality, specialized care on demand. Moving to part 2, why Georgia for dentistry? Let's narrow our focus to a country that is rapidly transforming its private healthcare sector and really staking its claim on the global stage. Over the last couple of decades, Georgia has undergone this massive modernization of its private healthcare. And they aren't just playing catch-up. They are literally leapfrogging the competition. By heavily leaning into digital workflows, advanced 3D diagnostics, and strict international treatment protocols, Tbilisi is pairing its famously world-class hospitality with cutting-edge medical science to compete globally. And this is exactly where SmileGeorgia Pro spotted a very specific, incredibly smart wedge. They're building a highly targeted pipeline that directly bridges high-cost, high-tax Nordic markets, specifically countries like Finland and Sweden, straight to these modernized clinics in Tbilisi. It's essentially a brilliant geographical arbitrage play based on both quality and cost. But to actually make this work, they don't just partner with any random neighborhood clinic. No, they strategically target highly specialized implant centers. Why? Because the profit margins and the patient motivations align perfectly. These centers are using digital dentistry, 3D printing, and CAD/CAM systems instead of routine general clinic tools. That makes complex procedures like full mouth rehabilitations incredibly predictable and safe for people traveling internationally. Okay, part 3, trust as a strategy, focusing on education over marketing. When you are trying to convince someone to fly across an entire continent for a surgery, trust isn't just a nice to have, it is literally everything. Rather than relying on cheap, aggressive sales tactics or just plastering the internet with flashy discount banners, their entire brand is built around one core mantra: education before marketing. They position themselves as a trusted knowledge platform first and foremost. They are educating the patient on the risks, the benefits, and the harsh realities of medical travel well before they ever try to sell a treatment. And to prove they actually practice what they preach, they enforce this incredibly strict editorial review process for all their content. Every single article or video goes through both a medical review and an editorial check. This ensures every piece of information is fact-checked, balanced, and medically accurate before it ever reaches a patient's screen. They even mandate human oversight when AI is used in their content creation. Now, this is a brilliant lesson in conversion strategy, regardless of what industry you're actually in. Their primary goal on their digital platforms is absolutely not to sell a $5,000 implant procedure outright. Instead, their goal is to offer a free, fixed-price remote assessment based on a patient's x-rays. This drastically lowers the barrier to entry, it totally eliminates financial anxiety, and it builds incredible confidence before the patient even thinks about booking a flight. Let's move into part 4, the clinic partnership blueprint. We're going to de-jargon the legalese and translate the dense legal agreement between SmileGeorgia Pro and a partner, like Richter's Clinic, into actual business strategy. This bold number, 15%, is the lifeblood of their revenue model. SmileGeorgia Pro earns a 15% commission rate on all treatment revenue from referred patients, But here is the truly powerful part. It operates on a 24-month attribution period, meaning if a patient comes back for a follow-up or gets additional treatments anytime within 2 years, the marketing partner still gets their cut. And check out this risk mitigation. The clinic is required to provide an ironclad 5-year warranty on implant fixtures, but it gets even better. The contract actually stipulates up to €500 in travel compensation if a patient needs to fly back to Georgia for warranty rework due to a defect. I mean, that is a massive trust signal to a prospective patient. These mechanics are basically a masterclass in how to structure a cross-border healthcare partnership. They perfectly isolate the marketing partner from all clinical and medical liability while ensuring the clinic is receiving highly qualified leads that get supported in their native Nordic languages. And that exclusivity clause, it's entirely tied to performance. They have to deliver a minimum of 3 patients a quarter to keep their Nordic monopoly. So let's look at the actual economics making this all tick. These indicative prices from the clinic clearly show exactly why Nordic patients are so motivated to make the trip. When a single implant with a crown is $850 and a complex procedure like an all-on-4 is just $2,500 per jaw, the math is a no-brainer for a patient staring down Nordic dental bills that could easily be triple or even quadruple those amounts. Finally, Part 5, the Nordic Marketing Playbook. Let's look at exactly how this startup executes their go-to-market strategy on a very lean initial budget, because we all know ideas are great, but execution is everything. Their initial €500 monthly ad budget is highly tactical. It's heavily weighted toward meta platforms, spending €350 there to specifically target that over 45 demographic, who are frankly most likely to need major dental work. Meanwhile, the remaining €150 go straight to YouTube, which acts as their long-term, evergreen trust-building engine through educational videos. They also move with incredible speed. They executed an aggressive 3-week timeline to launch a multilingual platform in both Finnish and Swedish. They were racing to get this live ahead of massive Nordic travel fairs, which just proves that in startup execution, maintaining momentum and having localized language assets are massive competitive advantages. And here is their full trust funnel in action. It's a very structured journey. They carefully move a patient step by step from watching an educational YouTube video to reading their highly transparent website to taking the low-risk step of a free remote assessment. It's only after a video call and receiving a concrete treatment plan that the patient finally boards a flight to recover in a modern clinic in Tbilisi. But they absolutely do not just rely on the internet. They actively amplify this digital funnel offline by pitching the Georgian National Tourism Administration. The founder is leveraging over 20 years of trade fair experience to represent Georgia directly at major Nordic expos. This puts a face, a native speaker, and a real handshake right in front of prospective patients in Finland, Sweden, and Norway. By weaponizing transparency, hyper-focusing on patient education, and drafting really strict legal accountability, SmileGeorgia Pro proves something incredibly vital. In the high-stakes, high-anxiety world of medical tourism, trust isn't just a marketing buzzword. It is the entire business model. Without it, you really have nothing. But with it, you can move mountains, or in this case, move patients across the globe. So, what do you think? In an era of endless options, is radical transparency the only actual way to win?